Clay, we refer to you, and I guess you prefer to be referred to as the Kid Kirby.
Yeah, that's a name that Roger Craig put on me, because I guess I'm kind of young looking, and I'm fairly young anyway. But I like the name. It's good for me. I like to stay young.
We'd all like to stay young, of course, but time does catch up with us. It's even caught up with Clay, the Kid Kirby. He's only 33 now, but he doesn't look like a kid anymore. There's some gray hair that didn't used to be there, and he pitches investments in real estate now instead of baseballs. Back when the Padres first came into the National League, Clay Kirby, the Kid, was one of the very few shining lights. He had a great arm, they all said, great future. He was only 20 when he broke into the big leagues.
I think a lot of things happened very quick for me, and I didn't really enjoy it the way I would if I was in the big leagues now. And what I mean by that is things happened so quick. I didn't know all the things that went along with being in the big leagues, and a couple things I might have done different as far as my career and the choices I did make.
Kirby pitched with the Padres for 5 years, had some great games and some not-so-great games. For the most part, he was a pretty good pitcher on a pretty bad team, but he never lost the optimism of youth.
I looked for this season, coming season, to be a real surprising season.
It's an exciting team and a quick team, and a team that's going to score a lot of runs. And I think with the new pitch, the cut fastball, that I'll be able to start off, a lot better sooner. It's going to be a much better team.
In 1973, he was traded to Cincinnati, where he appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated. In the background, maybe, but on the cover. He was on a world championship team with the Reds in '75, but was traded to Montreal in 1976, started to have some physical problems, and his baseball career was pretty much over. He tried comebacks with the Padres, the Twins, the Indians. They didn't want him. He was out of baseball, and it was tough.
It's a massive shock to the fact that all of a sudden you got to go work for a living. Sometimes I know athletes aren't prepared to work for a living because they've spent their entire lives playing baseball.
He lost money, a lot of money, owning a golf discount store. He sold hearing aids for a while, and he missed baseball. Still does.
I see it on television, and I even get up sometimes and go through the motion and see if it still hurts or anything, but yeah, I miss it, sure. It wasn't a job to me. It was something I'd done since I was 6 years old, and now all of a sudden they paid me for it, and I had fun at doing it.
Kirby says he hasn't thrown a baseball in over a year, except to play catch with his son, and now to play catch with a visiting reporter.
That feels good. Nice and, in fact, it's probably not been this fluid in a long time.
It isn't hard to see the pleasure Clay Kirby gets from the simple act of throwing a baseball. It's something he's always done, always been good at. He figures he could still pitch if somebody wanted him to.
I look at it as, boy, I could do that. And those guys make so much money. Guys not doing what I could do and making 3 and 4 times as much as I did when I played, but times have changed. There's a lot of ifs that determine a lot of things in the world, and I just happen to not be part of it.
This is where Clay Kirby works now, one of those new wood and tile roof shopping centers in San Marcos. He likes the job, but it's different. When he has a good day at the office now, nobody applauds. It's a new career for Clay with Calco West Financial Development Company. They deal mostly in commercial real estate. A big part of Kirby's job now is to meet with investors, to find people who have money to invest. And who better than ball players, right? So when Kid Kirby goes to the ballpark now, it's not to pitch or even to watch a game. It's to meet with players, talk about investments. He doesn't really know that many of the players anymore. Most of his contemporaries have retired, voluntarily or otherwise. A few veterans, like the Padres' Kurt Bavacqua, stop by to chat. Bavacqua wants to start a business, something he knows he'll have going when his baseball career is over. Kirby knows as well as anybody that life after baseball can be tough.
I wasn't as prepared as I wanted to be when I first came out of baseball, but through the last 4 or 5 years, I've picked up enough experience. Now I feel very comfortable at what I'm doing now.
Almost everybody recognizes Clay at the ballpark. Reporters drop by to say hello and to do interviews, and he is asked inevitably about the no-hitter, the near no-hitter. That was in 1970, July 21st to be exact. Kirby was removed from a game after he had pitched a no-hitter for 8 innings against the Mets. The Mets had gotten a run without a hit, and the Padres were behind 1-0 with 2 outs in the Padre 8th. Manager Preston Gomez pinch hit for Kirby. The kid never had a chance to finish his no-hitter, and the Padres lost anyway, 3-0. The fans were not happy. But Kirby, then and now, was philosophical.
I think it had an effect that it gave me a goal to shoot for and made me, I think, maybe a little better from that point on.
How good a pitcher was Kirby? Well, there are still some people around who remember. Padre coach Bobby Tolan hit against Kirby. In fact, he first came to the Padres in a trade for Kirby.
Well, I know there was one instance that I was on third base and I tried to steal home against him, and he didn't like that too well, and the next time I came up, he kind of threw one at my head. And right then and there, he struck me as the type of pitcher that was mean.
Padre broadcaster Dave Campbell was Padres' second baseman Dave Campbell when Kirby was pitching in San Diego.
I recall one night in Montreal, he was really down and out. It was the second year I was with the ball club, and he was really going poorly. And he said, he looked at me and he said, he says, everything I've ever done in my life, I've been a great success at. I think a lot of things came too easy to him early in life, and sometimes a person can handle that and sometimes they can't.
And now as Kirby stands on the field where he once pitched, it all comes back to him. The real thrill of playing Major League Baseball.
I want to still play, and, anytime I see a ball rolling on the ground, I want to go pick it up and throw it back. Hey, look, my arm's still okay. I can still play.
But baseball for Kirby now is merely a vehicle for getting investors. The game's not the thing anymore, the contacts are. He feels good about his new job. He thinks it should make him financially secure for quite a long time, give him a security baseball never could. But what if, even now, a team called and said, hey, Clay, we need a pitcher?
I think that once a true blue athlete, a professional baseball player, whatever profession, you don't want to ever quit. Obviously, Father Time catches up with you and you have to quit. But if I got the chance, I'd go, sure.
Maybe Jim Bouton summed it up best in his book, Ball 4. He said, you spend a good piece of your life gripping a baseball, and in the end, it turns out it was the other way around all the time. For Kid Kirby, that baseball still has a pretty firm grip. For News 8 Prime Time, this is Hal Clement.